For any of yous early enough to hear that buzzing noise, that was the mic check. Enjoy it. Love it. It could be the last time it ever happens. But I suppose I better give you a proper intro here. It's been too long. Why will the session start in 0 seconds? Who knows? Not me. But, good evening, ladies, gentlemen, children and animals of different sapiens and all ages. You join us here. It's season 14, round 10, the finale, the first time it's on your screen, because our commentators are as much use as Tobes' girlfriend is in a car when she's drunk at holding her sick in. That's a one for the fewies out there who know. Shout out to you. I can't even remember her name. Anyway, you join us for the season finale. There is absolutely nothing to play for because Sweet Crown has already won the title. I just couldn't be bothered racing, and I'd rather have a beer and sit and talk crap and watch these 18 numpties drive round Japan. And who are these 18 numpties in the McLaren then? It's CRL Wuban. He has scored some points this season. Not many, but some. They are on the table, and that is all that matters. He has got a chance of beating the likes of Clark PR, I believe is second bottom of the table. Give him, some dues where it is granted. Yeah, not much else to say about him, except, where did all the promise go, Callum? You're once a driver. What happened to you? Look at you now, languishing about at the bottom with your 27 points. And speaking of 27 points, Hobbsy, also on 27 points. Fun fact about Hobbsy, his favourite Formula 1 team is Man United, because that's what his bed sheets are, the little dweeb in the racing bull. What a guy. Diddy, 33 points, is in P17. Not much to say about Diddy, other than hope he's enjoying his time behind bars, and it's a miracle he's racing with us. Strauss and Tobes joint on 39. Well, the less said about them two, the better. I'm not even going to go there. AJ Wuhan, not here tonight on P14 with 43 points. That's what happens when you retire on lap 1 every other race, though, to be fair, folks. You can't score points if you don't finish. And Jacob hardly ever finishes lap 1, let alone his fucking dinner. Anyhow, Chaza, Bib, he's on 60, as is Cole Paradox. Cabalus on 62, Bosch Evans on 80. I'm somehow on 9th on 87. Kaelin Bartlett is on 89, Danjo 93, 4-star 155, Izzat on 174, and the 1 bar connection, which is a miracle how he's even still here. P's 175, Big Daddy Nathan on 181, TTRE Harrison, the absolute dweeb, on 227, and Sweet Corn on 282 because he doesn't go outside. But I'll tell you who is outside on a lap. It is Mr. Hobby Nobby. He's not had a season to write home about. He's not done much, if anything at all. Let's see if he can do something tonight, shall we? It could be a throwback to the good old days, the season 4s, the season 5s, the season 6s, where this man had somewhat pace. It's going to be an almighty throwback. I haven't seen somebody throwing something so far back since Tobes' second wife. But the less we say about that, the better. Here we go then. Here we don't go then, Hobbsy. Never change, my friend. Never change. We do have 2 reserves tonight, it must be said. Rocco Reggie for real makes his debut for the season. Yeah, a late call in. And it's Haroon, the little Dutchy poo, up there in P2. We're sticking on board then with Hobbsy for what this... I mean, it's bound to be a flyer. He's in front of an Aston Martin. Is that Diddy, or is that Izzat? It is Diddy, so I'm sure that'll be going down a treat in the comms booth between those two. Hobnob, though. Hobbity Nobbity, going through the curbs. That is a... Why the... okay. That's a track map where all the corners are letters. That is not going to do, is it? We'll just free ball it, folks? Who's even listening? There's not a single person here. Into the hairpin, though, takes a very peculiar line. Tobes with a purple lap for the first time in 60 million years. Cole Paradox beats it already. Strauss with a 28.274 slots in behind his compatriot and teammate. Clapper, no surprise, the slowest of the times on the lap so far. And then, oh, that's the grandstands. Oh, there we go. There is the virginity showing. TTRE Harrison puts a 27.2 in at this early stage of the session. Of course, 18-minute qualifying. We have 13:20 left. And then it is a 50% race. 27 laps. Hobbsy, though, what can the Man United bedwetter do? It's a 28.926. I'd find it different. I wouldn't give up your day job, Hobby. Let's have a look at 4-star, the man that claims he doesn't play the game much, but is forever always on iRacing or some sort of virtual racing. I don't know, he claims to have a job, he claims to have children, but I think he is an unemployed virgin, and until I see evidence otherwise, I'm not going to believe it. I just don't believe it. Through 130R, he goes into the Casio Triangle. Very little battery left. A bit like him in life. 36-year-old here. Not much battery left in that tank. What can he do? Not very much. 1:28.475. 2/10 adrift of Strauss. Just in front of Tobes. And in the mix, I suppose. Bosch Evans up the line using that full deploy. Splits into Dutchies. 28.167. We'll see how that goes. Cavalis at 1:28.0. It's a shame, you know, we're in the twilight years of Cone here, and Cavalis has found some serious pace in the last few weeks. It's a shame, because he has been pretty outstanding, it must be said. Where is Mr. Chaza? So, fun fact, Chaza was probably the only driver, maybe not the only driver, because there was a little bit of back and forth, but maybe one of the drivers who thought we were doing Miami. He realised when he joined the lobby, it wasn't Miami, it was Japan. Which explains why he thought his setup was a wee bit weird. So we'll see what he can do. Of course, this man has been famous for many things. Calling people babe is one of them. Breaking both his legs is another. So let's wish him luck and break a leg tonight on this lap. Chaza, you sexy little minx, crosses the line to start his flying lap. We're going to ride on board then with the Mercedes right down into turn number 1. Double right-hander of 2, of course. There's an apex there somewhere. Using that exit curb, though, into the left of 3, 4, 5, and then 6. Trying to maximise the speed carried through. Dunlop curb now. You want to be as tight to that curb on the inside as you can. Touch it, and you're going for a spin, a bit like the tornadoes. Not the tornadoes, the tsunamis, whatever they're called. Typhoons, there we go, we got there and then. Through Degna 1 and Degna 2. Riding it like skateboard legend Tony Hawk, or riding it like somebody else we might know and think of. Who are we thinking of? That's up for you to decide. Through the hairpin of 11. And then this corner that isn't really a corner, let's be real, it's number 12. There's a joke in there somewhere, but I'm not going to do it. Into the spoon we go. And that is spoon-fed to Chaza like a baby on the mush. Down the run then towards 130R. And, well, yeah, you meant to save some of your battery, Chaza, for the end of the lap. 5%, 6% on the clock here as he goes into the Casio Triangle. A little bit of a lock-up, a little bit of a spin and a drift. And it's going to be a lap until he ducks into the pits. And that is going to be P18 for Chaza. Nothing to write home about. Sweet Crown, Sweet Corn, or Sweet Champion, has no front wing, but he does have a 27.0, puts him in P2. Harrison, a 26.9, currently in P1 for the McLaren. Yellow flags in the first sector for his teammate, that is Wiban. And he's got a little bit of a points haul to overcome getting the wooden spoon here in the championship. He is currently, of course, on 6 points, which is slightly adrift of Clapper's 27, but, and this is crucial, if he wins tonight and gets the fastest, he doesn't even need the fast lap, if he wins tonight and other results go his way, Wuban could finish as high as 15th in the championship. And you know what, if he wins tonight and gets the bonus point for fastest lap, I'm going to take points off AJ Wuhan and give it to him, just so he can get P14. Not a lot to show for his season, it must be said, but Wiban has been here week in and week out, and always putting in performances and taking points where opportunity arises. I don't know if he's on an in lap. I don't know if he's on an out lap. I don't know what he's on. They look to be used tyres. I would guess he's not on a lap. Is Tobes on a lap? If he is, it's not a very fast one, which, I mean, it might be a lap for him. It's a lap into the pits. I don't know why he's coming into the pits on hot lap. He probably doesn't even know himself. Strauss looks to be on a lap. Pepin slightly down through the first sector, up to the hairpin then off turn at number 11. I promise we'll get more serious as the night goes on, folks. I'm just having a little bit of, a reintroduction, a wee bit of jest, a wee bit of banter, It's been a while. Back in the comms booth. For one last time, it could be said. Who knows? Who knows what the future holds, eh? We'll see. Thank you to the two people that are watching. One of them is probably actually me and my phone. So thank you to the one person who's watching. It's probably Nathan. He's probably sitting with his gammy knee. He hurt his knee, folks. He's got a boo-boo. Can't get in his rig. Can't do nothing. Useless. Strauss then through the Casio triangle on hot lap. I don't know why. You're meant to be in medium and use overtake. That is the faster way. Everybody knows this game. And, well, goes very tight to his previous time, but does not improve. As that is on a lap, let's see if we can get a connection to his 1 bar mud hut in the middle of Singapore. We seem to have a stable connection. Let's see if that Aston Martin has got a stable connection to the asphalt. Through Spoon curve he goes into the second part, and you can see him drifting. That is not drift. That is nickel lag. We love to see it. Yellow flags in the first sector. Who knows who that is? 130R, no battery left. He'll have to get his solar panels out to recharge them. They're the fun thing. They are running his PC right now, or his PlayStation, whatever it is he's on. Through the Casio triangle, up to the line. And is there going to be any improvement from the Singaporean? Slightly. A bit like him. The improvement is there. It's just a little short. We'll see if any more comes from him. 6 minutes left on the session. Cavalis is on another flyer and looks to be improving. Now, he does need about 3.5 tenths to overcome P's. But that could be done. He's got a little bit of battery left here in the final sector. Why is the Williams in a Golf livery? Is this a Japan thing? I don't know. Who knows? Answers on a postcard and I don't have one. Into the Casio triangle then on his, I believe that is the Lithuanian flag he's trying to replicate on the old helmet. Up to the line. 27.822 goes 2 tenths faster than his previous best. Puts him a nice comfortable P5. Bosch Evans is doing something. We'll come back to him. Hobbsy! Has he managed to start a lap this time? Yes, he has. So let's ride on board with Hobbsy for the second time, because I know he loves the pressure. Into turn 1 they go, flicking it in 8th gear all the way down to 4th. Keeping it clean until the exit there, and I don't know if that is Hobbsy's connection, my connection, or... Oh, it's not my connection, I'm the host. But something I missed there as he is slinging, sliding down through the S's, up through the Dunlop curb then, and into Degna 1 and Degna 2, picking up a bit of a rally line there from somebody, nearly a 10th, not a 10th for that, well, not far off, a 10th and a half off. We'll give it to the Hobby Nobby. Into the chicane, down to second gear. Look to get on the throttle pretty good. I won't deny him that. Does touch the grass on the left though. First time he's touched the grass in a while. Street Crown, speaking of touching grass, go do some. 26.852 for the Dutchman. And current, well, confirmed world champion Hobbsy then on the run to 130R. Let's be real, folks, we're not worried about quality here. We're only worried about the race. He is slightly up in his time as he decides to just cut the entirety of 130R down to 3rd gear. You want to take a bit more curb than that. Yeah, right choice, Hobbsy. Right choice. Chaza on a lap then. Or about to be on a lap by the looks of it. I'm just going to check the audio balance quickly and make sure Everything syncs up nice. Oh, I've absolutely nailed it on my return. I think the volume levels are chef's kiss, people. I think I think life could be dream, and we are living it right now. Josh Harrison, who put this guy in the cup, mate. I am a well-renowned commentator, mate. How do you know? So shut it, yeah. Just shush. Back Magalore days, I was the creme de la creme. The peak of the mountain. The Jehovah's Witness to the Church of Cairns. That's a penalty, Bauer. Yeah, you see that, folks? He cut the corner to make it back to the pits. Penalty. Get him done. He's gone. You're banned. You're absolutely banned. Anywho, this is the crap bit of quality, yeah. We've got 2.5 minutes to go. People are coming out on laps, but there's nothing really fun worth with. I mean, we've got a choice here then, folks. We could watch Danjo. There's a bit out of position here. Try and put a blazing lap in. We could watch Clipper. Not put a lap in. We could watch 4-star, bottle a lap, and then get extremely lucky with a safety car. Or let's watch Harrison. Let's watch, because I think we could all learn something here. And I think it could be how to install grip packs. Because it's, you know, it's got to be the only explanation, you know. He has got the Xbox pace, to be fair. That does add, like, you know, takes at least 3 tenths off your best lap time. So I would, you know, should we really be banning him for Park Fermi rules? He broke them if he's, you know, using them Xbox actions. We'll see. Bosch Evans is starting a lap. We'll maybe jump onto him while we, yeah, we better, I suppose. As much as I want to banter everybody, we'll better ride on board and do a bit of proper commentating like the good old bad days, eh, folks? Into the S's he goes free for the left of 5 before the right of 6 opens back up for us. Modulating that throttle just to maximise that minimised speed through there. Up the Dunlop curbs, yellow flags somewhere up ahead. That is Wuban, I think, letting people through. Skips over the first Degnat, touches the second, and careful to use as much as that curb without overstaying your welcome. Down to second gear, a nice tight entry line on that Apex curb. And yep, the car in front, I believe that is a Racing Bull, getting it nice and clean out of the way. Bit of traffic coming up for Bosch. Could have issues, but so far unrelenting from the Welshman. Second part of Spoon complete, using a nice bit of that exit curb. And now the run down to 130R we go. Bosch Evans definitely looking to beat his teammate, I would say here, but Cavalis will come back to him at some point. We'll be looking to have something in the tank, and Evans crucially out of ERS deployment, holding that tight right line to minimise the distance, and it's a 27.74, does beat out his teammate. Let's jump to the front then. Harrison into the hairpin of 11-12, the long right hander coming up, checkered flag has fallen, and that will be all she wrote for Bosch Evans in quali then. Into the first part of Spoon, aggressive with the speed and a lot of battery left in the tank. 4-star P8 with a 28.129. Next up is going to be Ferrari of either Danjo or Rocco. It is Danjo at 28.391, goes P12. Harrison, purple middle sector. He's got a Red Bull up in front. I believe that is Cole Paradox, who is currently in P7. Bouter, Sweet Crown still on a lap. Cole Paradox does improve. Harrison does improve. Where is Bouter? There's a little bit of cars, a little bit of traffic to go. Clapier, where is this big man? Oh, we'll come back to him. Chazza! Wow, there was a lot of traffic here. Through the Casio triangle then. The run down to the line. Strauss does improve. Hobbsy does improve. Chazza does improve. Rocco does not improve. Tobes, I believe, is up next. He has invalidated. Sweet Corn, Sweet Crown, Sweet whatever you want to call him. Getting maybe a little bit dirty there, up to the line. Can't take pole, and I think That traffic at the end has caught him out. What about, is that nothing? Peas, nothing. Oh no, is that did improve, sorry, it's just his leg, you know, kind of delayed it. But is that did get P3 there and then by 0.02 of a second. Big yippee from Izzat for that, and that is all she wrote for qualifying. Harrison takes pole. Sweet Crown and P2, Izzat P's. Garoon rounding off your top 5. Evans, Strauss, and Cole Paradox make it down to P8, and we will have the full running in just a second. But ain't it good to have a proper commentator back, folks? I mean, I say a proper commentator. Ain't it good to have a commentator back? I would say so. Harrison then, 800s clear at the front, and then a big gap of 0.4 at least from Sweet Crown back to Izzat. P's following tightly behind, and then another half a second gap to its Jeroen. Bosch, Evans, I didn't mean to click into that. Bosch, Evans, Strauss, and Co Paradox keeping it tight, as is Cavalis, who unfortunately didn't see his final run there, must have bottled it. They've already raided up, I didn't even get the... I'm so out of practice, folks. But you've seen it. You've seen it. You know Co Paradox, you know Clupper's last. You know Harrison's first. You know James is in the middle, 4-star. And you know it's raining. How heavy is the rain, though? The last time CRL raced here, of course, last season in the Tier 2 race, it was raining. It was damp. But it was just right for the soft tyres to be slightly quicker than the intermediates. Could we see a return of them conditions here tonight? We will find out very shortly, because we have only a matter of minutes to go to the formation lap gets underway, and then 27 laps around the Suzuka circuit here in Japan. Of course, a historic track on the calendar, going well back into the history analogues of Formula 1. First raced, of course, in 1987, the Formula 1 Grand Prix here. Some very, very big moments, of course. Some controversial moments. We'll not get too much into that. 3.608 miles, 5.807 kilometers. 17 turns, of course. I'm not going to tell you how many are to the right and how many to the left, because I don't have that to the top of my head. Of course, a few fatalities been here. Could we see one tonight? Probably not, because it is a video game, but the stress could get to the old hearts out there. There's some old boys on this grid. There are some very old boys on this grid. Formation lap underway then, and it is green stripe intermediates from P18 down to P1. It's a big McLaren sandwich with a green filling of intermediate tyres. Don't worry, folks, I'll yawn for you. Clarper and Tobes having a comment together already on the formation lap. That is things you love to see. Chance for Wuban then to jump the two of them. We'll see if that is going to play out or not at all. Interesting strategy from Clarper, that, you know. Big rivalry with his long-time friend, long-time colleague, you could almost say. Tobes, both of them serial underperformers on this grid. So we'll see if this is mind games from the Haas driver. Of course, his teammate up in P12. Currently, I have not had to pay my mortgage for the last 3 months because I am rent-free in that man's head. So that has been lovely jubbly. Strauss and Co Paradox side by side. That is lovely to see. It's a bit like their bedtime routine. Sitting cosy beside each other with... I can't think of an analogy. What's going on here? Why are they so separated? Well, Strauss has already had a nightmare, it looks. Probably a bit of a spin, probably a bit of something. Why is the grid so just daunted? What is going on here, folks? Like, what? But as much shape. I won't say that. I'm not going to say that. Nah. Do you know what? As much shape as DC's arse. I said it. There you go. Intentional sabotage claims. Claims Tobes. Do you know what? I back it. I believe it. Cool Paradox has been disqualified as it P's for not being able to park. Jeroen in the same boat. Is that about her? I don't know how you get away with this. Anytime I try that, it automatically sends me back. It doesn't let me quite park in the box like that. Pretty rude. You know, deploying your hacks like that. Terrible. Anyway, that's enough waffle. Let's do some comms. You join us then for the Japanese Grand Prix, the final of this season. It is 5 red lights in Japan, lights out, and away we go. Harrison leads the pack away. A little bit of movement there. P's getting the jump on Izzat into P3, down into turn 1 goes the Racing Bull ahead of the Aston Martin. Hobbsy making a move. Get your camera out. There's not very often that happens. It won't last for long. Chazza, speaking of not lasting long, a little bit of a spin, a little bit off, but keeps it going forward and keeps the pack going side by side. Speaking of side by side, this could be danger. Club PR trying to go side by side with someone. This never ends well in the wet, but somehow it does. Diddy showing his talent there to race the absolute moving obstacle. It's Jeroen and Cole Paradox having a little bit of movement. Of course, Cole Paradox started right behind his teammate there of Strauss, as we see a little bit of contact, a little bit of debris. Yellow flags for, I believe, Tobes having an off through the Degnas. And, I mean, a pretty uneventful start. Let's be real, to a Formula 1 race. There's not been any massive collisions. There's not been any massive disasters from anybody. Jeroen's had a little bit of a disaster, you could say, down, I believe, 3 positions. There we go. Remember how to do this. Yeah, down 3 positions. Chazza down 6, Tobes down 2, Cavolis down 2, and Coparadox down 1. Hobbsy somehow up 3, Copa and Wuban both up 2 as his 4-star. And then Diddy, Danjo, Rocco Reggie for real, all up 1, the top 4. Staying as they were somehow, and I missed it, probably lagged right through him with his 1-bar connection, did his that, but he's back into P3. Harrison put the fastest lap in because of course he did. It is lap 1 as Chazza and Wuban battling through that chicane at the end of the track, the Casio Triangle, as I believe it is known. And side by side through the run down to turn 1, battling further up ahead. Rocco Reggie dropping down the order like a stone into a pond, and has to settle behind his teammate and Cavolis. So Rocco having a little bit of a bad run there, maybe into turn 1, maybe getting a little bit loose, maybe getting a bit off, maybe getting a bit, I don't know. We'll wait and see. Lap 2 of 27 then. Gap starting to form from P2 to from P4 to P5, sorry. Bosch Evans 2.2 adrift of that top 4, of course. Points to play for, positions to play for, not that it really matters for the title. It's more just for pride at this stage. So we'll see how this plays out. Of course, no DRS in the rain as Diddy. DRS is his self. The Diddy. I don't know if I can say that second word. The Diddy R8 strategy. We'll call that. Yeah. We'll go with that. Wuban getting passed by Tobes. Well, not getting passed by. Yeah, it's getting passed by Tobes because he made a mistake. It wasn't really an overtake. It was more a collision. And speaking of collision, not a collision, an incident. Oh, cheeky. Cut the track, why don't you? Yeah, very good. Sweet Crown having a little bit of a say in there. Bit of contact with Harrison. Pushes him maybe wide, maybe not. Harrison, of course. Wait, is DRS enabled? Is that Aston's rear wing? What the hell? Well, this is people in the pits already. You love to see. P's nearly dying is probably the apt word. Plenty of cars in the pits. I think they're going for mediums already. 4-star and Diddy rolling the dice. Was DRS open there? Was anybody actually watching to tell me? Tobes gets past Klapper. Shock. Surprise. Klapper losing a position. Could never be me. Is there going to be... It wasn't damaged, by the way, in that. It's this game being absolutely terrible and flinging up debris when they run over the curbs. But spicy in the front three then. Harrison and Wouter are making contact into the chicane. Izzat managing to jump in that and squeeze through on Harrison after he had to cut the final corner. And then something happened with Pease. I don't know if it was a late move from Harrison, a late reaction from Pease, or just general daftness from the game. Answers on a postcard. We'll wait and see. 4-star though is reeling in the time to Wiban on those mediums. Saying that, he has just lost a bit of time. We'll see. Let's do the gap to the leader. That will give us a better indication. So 31 seconds, the gap from Sweet Crown down to 4-star. Sweet Crown does stay out, and I think the front pack is all going to. Pease is into the pits, and the gap widening ever so slightly. Now there is obviously going to be pace distance between these guys, and a few more into the pits then. Pease onto a set of mediums. Strauss also in, Danjo also in, Tobes also in, and Wiban also in. So an early flurry of mediums. Strategy-wise, I do believe if it was of course a dry race, we did do 2 or 3 laps on the inters. So you're looking to get around about the 12 mark lap, I would say, on the mediums. You can maybe take that down to 10 laps now, maybe 11, and then doing sort of 16, 15, 17 on the hards, give or take. We'll see how it all sort of pans out. And now, of course, we've got a great little indication of the difference. So P is 23.7 behind. It's got to take a lap for these tyres to heat up and get back into a nice optimal range. But Pease is definitely catching already to the leaders. Look at that time, siphoned down like Izzat's height. Not more to say on that. Very crude joke. I just got the punch down on Sunday, and it's not very often you find a littler man than me, so I might as well take full advantage of it. 23.4 and falling the gap to Pease from Sweet Crown. The top 11 still to pit, but Pease, if some of these front rear running intermediate guys choose to stay out, could find himself caught up in a little bit of traffic. Izzat into the pits, Harrison into the pits, and Sweet Crown, the lone front runner now, staying out. Bosch Evans stays out, Hobbsy is in, and that gap, it's not coming down amazingly fast. So is the choice to stay out? Yes, you're going to lose a couple of seconds here until the true dry switchover, which I would say it's maybe got to be this lap, but the extra little bit of wear you might get might make all the difference. We'll see the gap to the leader to Pease, 22.8. So as much as it looks like Sweet Crown is sliding about there and really struggling on these tyres, he's actually doing pretty good time wise. Pease obviously managed to jump Harrison despite that little incident earlier on in the Grand Prix where he almost decided to commit Sudoku. Pardon me. Has managed to just jump ahead of him and right on the tail of Izzat. Still no indication that DRS has been enabled. So it's going to be tight. It really is going to be tight here, I think. You know, Izzat and Pease, they've gained maybe a couple of seconds on Wouter. Wouter's choosing to lose the now, and hopefully it comes back to him in the long run. And I think Cabolis, Bosch Evans and Chaz are looking to do that as well. Of course, a safety car now, you're laughing. Wouter is into the pits. Let's see what the two Williams do. You know, they have got enough of a gap, 7.8 seconds between the two of them. Bosch Evans into the pits. Cabolis, I'd imagine it's going to follow suit. Yes, he does. Chazat does as well. So now everybody going to be on those medium or hard tyres. 3-second time penalty for TTRE Harrison as Pease fires in the fastest lap and overtakes Izzat and overtakes Wouter around the outside into turn 1, side by side. The Dutchman hanging it in there, and in fact didn't lose a great deal of time in the grand scheme of things. He's kept ahead of Izzat. He's right on the tail of Pease, and Pease making great rows with that undercut. Of course, getting the tyres warmed up, getting them into a great optimal heating range, and able to make that rubber really stick on those undercut laps. Of course, though, bit of extra wear, and Bouter is at Cole Paradox, Rocco and Tobes all choosing to go long on the hards now compared to the rest of the field's medium. So this brings in another dynamic. The medium runners, I'm expecting them in anywhere from about lap, maybe about lap 14, let's say. 13, 14, 15, possibly slightly sooner, lap or two sooner. The hard runners, I'd expect these guys to be taking them towards the late teens, maybe even lap 20. It really depends. Of course, the mediums in this game, how do I say this nicely? They're absolutely rubbish. They're about as good as a chocolate teapot in an inferno. They have no grip at all towards the end of life, whereas the hards, yes, they're slower, but they degrade that little bit more gradually, and the drop-off is nowhere near severe. Lap 6 about to be completed then of this Grand Prix. P's putting in another fastest lap of 33.7. Sweet Crown though using that DRS. Yes, he is. Nice for the, nice for race control to tell me that that was happening. That would have been nice of them. Unfortunately, they do not. Strauss though does move on Hobbsy. Bosch Evans, despite not having DRS, able to hold off Hobbsy, maybe running a higher downforce setup is the Man United veteran fan. And maybe as a result is going to lose out down the street. It's Jeroen next to line him up and could be looking to make a move sometime soon, although yellow fuel indicator, he might need to do some saving later on in this Grand Prix. I think the majority of our cars are good on fuel by the looks of things. Yes, they are. So Jeroen, the only one that's looking to underfuel, as Hobbsy gets back past Strauss. Bit disappointed I missed out on that one there, but they are side by side through the exit of 11 into 12, and Hobbsy with that inside line claims the corner for himself. Jeroen hovering about the rear of them like a bad smell. Strauss though derating, and well, we'll see how it all plays out here. The run to 130R, of course Jeroen got a lot of battery, Strauss derating, and Jeroen looking to be running a lot lower wings, but lifts off, decides not to go for it here then and now. Bouter and Pease and Harrison all having a go at the fastest lap as Jeroen slides down the inside of Strauss into the Casio triangle. That lets Hobbsy a little bit of breathing room, but not enough to clear the DRS gap, and now Jeroen looking to try and push back through here. Strauss very tight on the rear, as is Danjo on the rear of Strauss, and 4-star lurking about in the background there. Cole Paradox just outside the DRS zone here, and this battle from P6 all the way down to P12 really starting to take shape here. The battle at the front, they're going to swap and switch. We'll jump into them whenever we feel like it's important, but let's give the actual humans of the grid a bit of coverage. Speaking of humans, I don't know if you could call them humans, sentient blobs of racing flesh. Klapper has passed Tobes for P16 and is up a position, but Wiban is not going to let that go unanswered. He is going to get right into the mix with him, I'm sure. He is half a second off Tobes, who is half a second off Klapper, and they're 7.6 adrift off the points paying positions. Cavalis, a strong qualifying, struggling in the race, however. Maybe just struggling early doors with those wetter conditions. I've accidentally turned the HUD off. Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Tobes, I just say, Wiban is going to get in the mix here. Tobes under Fred on the exit of 11 and 12 from Wiban has to cease and runs a little bit wide. And just maybe overcooking it there is Luke Wiban. Up to the front then very, very quickly. No change whatsoever. How exhilarating. Back down into the gauntlet then, Jeroen going for the move and gets it done nice and easily with the assist of DRS on Hobbsy. Strauss, again, maybe not able to keep up. Jeroen running definitely lower wings than the majority of this pack. A difference in strategy, and because of that, not many of them able to really make much of a move now. If Hobbsy can keep with Jeroen, he can use that to his defence, because Jeroen seems to have the pace here. He seems to definitely have the straight line pace, but with that pull of DRS and the slipstream, that could be enough to let Hobbsy save the battery to defend the position nice and naturally and hold up, pardon me, the pack behind. Oh, I'm a sleepy boy. Because he yaps so much. Absolutely yappa. Harrison, another free second time penalty. Now, there may be a removal for the push-off with Sweet Crown, and well, if you had on your bingo card Clipper spinning and breaking your front wing, well done. You had the worst odds in betting history, because that was always going to happen. Front wing missing from the Haas. Surprised no safety car. Not even a virtual there. Suppose he was a bit off track. The front two getting very feisty though. Pease and Wouter. Wouter sticking his nose in, making himself known. Jeroen putting in the fastest lap, and he has cleared Hobbsy well and truly. Going to hunt down at Bosch Evans next. We're going to jump quickly to this because Danjo, naughty, teasing me, trying to sneak down the inside there. The gap just closing out of him. The time just closing out of him, and not quite able to make the move. 4-star hanging in with the group. He's waiting to make his moves, as is Cole Paradox, and this really is going to become a game of ERS management for all of these guys, and because of that, ERS be gone. We won't know what they're on. We'll leave it all up to imagination. We'll leave it all up to our better judgment. Just in case. Let's not spoil the games with any shenanigans. Pease and Wouter having some shenanigans, though we can't see in the dash rough the battery, I suppose. You know, there is that. And there is that little detail for anybody with a keen eye that wants to know these things and really wants to know these things. And if you do, may I direct you to a hobby. Pease get a little bit on the inside though through 130. Oh, that rear flashing light showing that Wouter is either derating or saving, and Pease just about saving himself from an early bath into the barrier. Is that though? On the hards, has came back into this fight. Was a few seconds adrift. Now right on the tail of the top three and looking to strike at them in the coming laps, but nothing changing there. Strauss gets his run at Hobbsy. Of course, Hobbsy without DRS is a sitting duck. Cavalis gets the move on Chaza further back. I'm told picks up a 3 second time penalty. Wuban also picked up one earlier. So a little bit of dismay for the back three. No points, of course, from 16th to 18th. So yeah, a little bit of a drift. They are going to need probably a safety car to bring them right back into this race, but even then the 3 seconds is going to be a bit of a dismay. But you never know. Stranger things have happened, of course. Clipper did, of course, go one race without breaking his front wing, and that's pretty strange as it is. P's then in P2. 7 lap on the mediums. He's still got a few laps left in the tank before he needs to, or before he's probably willing to slap on the set of hards. Of course, we'll get a nice undercut on that transition. Pardon me. Oh. Absolutely yappa makes you yawn. He will get a nice undercut with that transition to the hards versus Sweet Crown and Izzat. So I suppose got to make hay when his son does be shining. DRS wide open on that racing bill as he follows the Alpine further down. Harrison dropping back a little bit even with the DRS, so maybe again another run of strategy, maybe just a tactical deployment of battery. Who knows, who cares? Not me, certainly, probably not you. Danjo on the back of Hobbsy. Hobbsy having as much straight line speed as I could say it, a gay drug addict. Does that make sense? Sure, let's go with that. Hobbsy really close to the rear of Danjo, does not crash into him, however. And next up on his list of people to be scared of is 4-star, who'll be looking to follow Danjo through and make that move into the top 9. Followed by a few other cars that'll be soon to come. Back to the front then, is anything happening? Well, yellow flag deployed. Full course safety car deployed. Oh, Callum, the gift that keeps on giving. I did say, Clipper, you know, that's twice you broke your front wing, pal. And that's safety car deployed. This changes things up. Pease and Harrison and Bosch Evans could be in actually a pretty strong position now. Klapper, for once, using those neurons and staying out a lap purely to make sure he stays on the lead lap and also saves him a lap's worth of tyre life. What the front runner's going to do though, it's a bit early to get mediums to the end, but Bowter might have to stick with it and let us get 2 sets of hard. Pease also in, as is Harrison, as is Izzat, and I think we're going to see a flurry of near enough every car on the grid out here. Bowter then does have another set of hards, so can make it easy to the end. Pease puts a fresh set on. Harrison puts a fresh set of hards, his first of the Grand Prix on. Izzat though, Aston Martin not having a fresh set of hards to go on to. Next up then, it's Jeroen. Of course, on the mediums, going to be a set of hards. Strauss, Danjo, 4-star, all going to be the same. Cole Paradox, though, the next of the hard runners, what is the strategy for him? Gets the double stack as well. Going to be a set of mediums. 14 laps. Now, by the time we get racing, it's going to be probably lap 15. So the mediums can just about get to the end. If you're nice to them. Your name's not Hobbsy. Hobbsy might struggle to get his hards to the end. But we're just, we're just etching into that second half of the Grand Prix. Safety car deployed on lap 13. Well, lap 12 technically. Caught the pack on lap 13. So it's going to do 13 under safety car. We're going to do 14 under safety car. And it is going to be lap 15. As we get a nice demonstration of just how far back Klapper is still to make his stop. And that's not even the safety car queue. That's just people catching up to it. What's he going to do? Because he's used about 19 tyres. Good to see his pit box was ready for him. Front wing is being changed. That's a pleasant relief. Set of mediums for him. Now there's nothing to lose if he wants to go back on that set of hards, I suppose. 2 or 3 lap hold. That might be better than the mediums. We'll see what he does. If that was the case, I mean, it doesn't really matter, does it, if he does them well lap without a front wing or not? I suppose changing his front wing a lap later is one less lap for him to do where he doesn't risk breaking his front wing again. So there is maybe method in his madness. We'll see. We'll see how this plays out for him. I'm at a loss here, folks. There's not really much to say during this safety car. I don't really have any overview of the season because it's the first time you're seeing it. I don't really have any overview of the championship because it's done. I don't have any good analogies or good stories. It's nearly Christmas. That's not really a story though, is it? I could tell you the story about Tobes' girlfriend. So they were on the works night out last week. A little drinky poo, a little couple of beverages. And Klapper gave them a lift home. And Tobes' girlfriend couldn't hold her sick in and decided to be sick out the front window of the car at 70 mile an hour on the side of a dual carriageway. And all the sick came back inside the car and it covered Tobes from head to toe in sick, in vomit. Alcoholic hoodie vomit. So Klapper and Tobes had to spend the next day cleaning out the car, and bad news if you're Hobbsy, the only thing they had on the night to try and clean things up was some Man United bed sheets that Klapper got for his wedding. I didn't say it would be a good story, I just said I might have a story. I'm going to go get a drink, folks. You enjoy the safety car. It's going to come in next lap as long as Klapper catches up. The rest of the rest though, he is pushing pretty hard right now. We'll watch him, because then if his wing gets broken, we'll have the footage. We're right on board with him, in fact. I'll be back in about 3 minutes when hopefully we're back to green flag racing. Well, you two up to swap positions. Chazza and Tobes into the pits then. That must be for a set of fresh mediums. Ooh. Rate the gamble. Hobbsy, 4-star, what you two doing? What you playing at? I don't know what these two are doing, swap positions. Just getting caught out with the Constantine effect. There you go, happening again. It is penalty worthy driving side by side on the safety car. It could be one for the stewards. Who knows? Who actually knows? It could be one for the stewards. We're going to wait then. It's going to be Chazza and Tobes catching the pack. But we should be green flag racing at the start of lap 16 and not 15, my correction. So the mediums probably primed just to make it to the end now. Although I think the hards will be the better tyre. We'll see how this all plays out in the coming 12 laps. Safety car notice should be coming in any time soon, and hopefully we'll get ready to go racing just as we enter the final sector here. Safety car in this lap, so Wouter is going to warm the tyres, is going to be the pack, and we'll wait and be ready for him to take us back underway. That look a bit in, like just look a little bit dodgy to anybody else. Bit of contact there, looked like in the final chicane, but Wouter does go racing between the pit entry and the start finish. Checkered flag jiggity. Pease having a look down the inside, does not quite get the move done. Wouter holding him off, Izzat in third, Harrison in fourth, Bosch, Evans, the two Joshes in fourth and fifth. 4-star having a 4 position drop, 2 position drop, not quite 4 position, down to P12, maybe some shenanigans with Mr. Dobb, aka the Hob. He has got Rocco Reggie for real on the rear of him. Is that somebody hitting the wall? No, it's just people jumping over the curbs. Is that little the bump noise. Is that though one to keep an eye out? He's on the mediums, the only one of the top 10 on the mediums, and it might be tight. The last few laps might be a little bit sketch, but he's going to do everything he can to take these tyres right to the end. We'll see how it all plays out for him. Cavallis losing 2 positions through the spoon curb. I think that's just a little bit of a run wide, catching the outside curb. And hook, line and sinker away to the land of make-believe. Does get a run back on Chazza into 130R. Ooh, tight as toenails, as Mr. Pheasant Plucker Danny Fandango would have said all those seasons ago. DRS now enabled, of course, detection before the start of the lap, or at the end of the lap, as the kids would say. So, not going to be any on this run to the straight. I clicked on the wrong car there and didn't even realise because I was too busy looking at the timing boards. Co-paradox on the inside of Dizzy. Little bit of contact. Dizzy's throwing up a little bit, maybe too much there. I don't think the contact quite dictated the need to drop that speed. A 4-star almost runs into the back of him. Rocco Reggie for Rio hanging about there still. Clipper, Caballis, Clipper in the points. It is happening. It is happening. Oh, I nearly jinxed him. Didn't Izzat then gets a move into the hairpin on Pease, and Pease became a little bit unpleased, you could say, on exit with his car as Harrison gets very tight to the rear. Bosch Evans hanging it in there, and yellow flags, I believe. Oh, Wuban, no, look. Oh, speaking of McLarens, that is not the line, Harrison. That is not the way you want to go through the spoon. I thought you'd be fully aware of spoons and how they are shaped and how they're curved and how to run yourself around about them. You know, he's an avid enjoyer of cereal, folks. That's the joke, nothing else. Bosch Evans, though, right on his heels. and looking to maybe get a mix into this top four. Wuban retiring on track as well. Safety car deployed again. And it is a shame for Wuban. He's run a good season. A struggled season, it must be said. A tricky season. Tobes into the pits. I'm surprised nobody else did that. Although, oh well, no, sorry, 4-star and Rocco both in a torrid season. A torrid session, sorry, for Wuban sees him retiring the first of the Grand Prix. In fact, on lap 18. Softs for Tobes and 4-star. I think my silence says everything. I think that's a silly call, boys. Yes, you've not gave up a great deal of track position-wise. And yes, you're going to have a massive pace advantage for a few laps. However, I don't think them tyres, I mean, they're on 18. We're on 18. We're going to have to serve 19 under safety car. We might go racing on 20. That's 8 laps, plus a few slow laps. That's tight. That's ideal for the mediums. And it's ideal for the guys that pit onto the mediums, I suppose. They can then stretch these out, not have those same stubborn and tricky final few laps on the mediums. The hard runners, cursing it a little bit, because, of course, they want the mediums to drop off, although there is plenty of the hard, so it's not going to make a massive difference, I suppose. It's not really a downside for them, it's more just a benefit for the medium runners. It still shouldn't make a huge difference in the overall pace. Great news for us, I suppose. His race was really hinging on those last few laps, and whether he could then hold off the guys behind. Of course, Pease and Harrison both with penalties, so they are sort of discounted as it is. Pease doing his best to displease, wherever you want to add it, there's a joke in there somewhere, is that, and Pease, I thought was coming into the pits, does just overtake. It's Jeroen that does come into the pits, however. The Mercedes going to change tyres. I don't know how is that. I really don't know what's going on with Izzat and Pease. Was Izzat ahead of Pease? I think Izzat was ahead of Pease. I don't know. No penalty's been given for being in wrong positions. So who knows? It's been going for a fresh set of mediums. I think that's a good call, personally. Yes, he's given up track position, but he's going to have them few laps extra rubber, considering where he was in the pack. I mean, he was, to be fair, he was 6th, so he has got a bit of position to climb. There could always be another safety car. Clapper's still in the race, so that is still a solid odds-on chance of happening. That's an interesting one. We'll see how it pans out for these back four. Jeroen and Rocco on the mediums, Tobes and 4-star on the softs. Of course, then Chazak, Kapolis and Clapper 13, 12 and 11 respectively. Plus Co-Paradox in 9th, and Izzat, who's either in 3rd or 2nd whenever they decide what position they want to be in on the mediums. The rest of the cars then, P10, Diddy, Hobbsy in 8th, Dandrew 7th, Strauss 6th, Bosch Evans 5th, Harrison 4th, P 2nd and Sweet Crown in 1st on the hards, and will easily run to the end. Is there a glitch where you can just overtake people under safety car there, or is this some, I don't know, just some shenanigans, just a bit of banter maybe, who knows, who cares? Safety car in this lap. We're going to have 8 laps of racing here around Suzuka to see who wins the final race of the season. Bowter once again going to get us on their way and racing in that blue and pink Alpine. What a lovely camera that is, to be fair. I wish we had more cameras like this. I mean, I haven't comms this year yet, so there might be loads more of them. The background looks a bit dodgy though, isn't it? There's just some rice paddies over there. And Bowter has kind of like made them think he's going without actually going, by the looks of that. Or is that just the gank of the game? Anyway, he is now going. And Karen is at get a run into turn 1. 7 lap old mediums, of course, a lot of those laps under safety car, so not really going to be properly worn. Ugh. Oh, cheeky from Harrison there, trying to stick a nibble in on P's. Cabolas and Chasa swap places further back. We're going to keep a little bit of an eye on those back runners. Cabolas and Chasa swapping once again. I'm about to sneeze, but we'll try and batter on despite it, in spite of it, who knows. D'Angelo, we went the wrong way, but it was fine. D'Angelo very tight to the rear of Strauss on the restart. Not of course been able to make a move yet. Cabolas though has made a move, and it's all the way down to P17. Harrison and P's getting a little bit feisty though. The two with the penalties. Two hard runners opposite or outside of outside of Vouter that have been consistently up at the top front here, and a little bit of a gap forming after that. A squabble. P holds the position. Of course, 3 seconds for himself, 6 seconds for Harrison. These late safety cars really impactful when you consider those into effect. Chasa, oh my word, that was tight. That was tight. He loses out to 4-star because he almost decided to take a chunk out of the side pod of Clough PR. 4-star then, look at the grip advantage he's got coming out of that final corner versus his teammate. Gets the move done and is up into P11. Could maybe just make these softs work if they can last in here. That is going to be the massive difference. If the softs are going to make it to the end. Obviously, we haven't seen him since he was going backwards faster than, I don't know, women's rights in Saudi Arabia. I don't know, something like that. Maybe not quite backwards. I don't know, folks. It's been a while. I'm out of euphemisms, I'm out of comparisons. I'm out of fucks to give. There you go. Used to be, you know, oh, can't swear brain column. Who cares? Is caring though, and he's caring about getting P1 of Sweet Crown. Touching the Dutchman through the hairpin, giving a little tickle on his clogs with the Singaporean rice noodle he calls his tongue. We'll see if he can shape up a move. Yellow flags at the back. That's Tobes, who has really not made those softs work. He's on another fresh set and decide, you know what, these aren't warm enough, let's have a spin, and puts 34 seconds back. So great showing from him. Maybe I could have raced tonight, you know, maybe that would have been the only chance of Kit getting a point. Probably not. Probably not. Izzat then is gonna get a move on Vouter. Chasa gets a 3-second time penalty, although Izzat struggling either on battery or just pure aero straight line speed. Little bit of contact there, somehow avoid an absolute flattering coming together. Cabolas gets a move on Chasa. Jeroen gets a move on Rocco, and 4-star gets a move on Diddy. Up a position respectively for them. 4-star into P10, looking to make that charge up into the top half of the field and into some major points paying positions, although other softs go into hold. Strauss in P6, he's got his compatriot and teammate of Co-Paradox tight behind him. They're trying their best to hang on to Bosch Evans, who just teetering on the edge of the top 4. Yellow flag somewhere though, that is Co-Paradox. How is he out? How is he out? Why is that a safety car? What has he done? That's a retirement on track. Is that a retirement on track? I swear that dot's still moving. Late safety car drama then in Japan. And I think that was a retirement on track, folks. I'm not going to lie. I thought that dot was still moving. Maybe not. I could be wrong. But another shape and another twist in this Grand Prix. The third safety car of the night then, as we go on to lap 23. And now is the decision of who's going to sacrifice track position for a fresh set of softs. Strauss says, I will. Klapper does as well. Cabolas does also. The rest of them staying out. Of course, this is disaster if your name is Pease, if your name is Harrison, if your name is Chazza. I was going to say if your name is Tobes, but it was already a disaster for him. Those with a penalty are really going to be majorly impacted now, because lap 23, we're going to serve 24. We're probably going to get racing 2, maybe 3 laps to go here. Strauss could be about to play not even Cole Paradox, because he's out. Klopper could be about to play the game of the century here. Those fresh softs with only a couple of laps, he can really push them to the limit. And could we see the limit of clean racing? Could we see some elbows out from all up and down the grid? We'll see. We'll see. We shall see. Tobes, that many pit stops. He's going for his record, which I believe was 11 stops in Singapore. He's currently up to 6. So not going to break that record, but is looking mighty good. Enter hard, medium, soft. It's quite the strategy. It is one of the strategies of all time. So who knows, a recovery drive. I mean, there's some other guys with penalties. There could be some more collisions. There could be some more drama. We'll see how it all unflails through these last final laps. So, anybody that is actually watching, tell me, what's been your moment of the season? You've got a wide variety of races to pick from. You know, you didn't see any of them, but there was 10 of them. They were out there, somewhere on the Ethernet, but you won't ever see them. There were some good moments this season, it must be said. There were some terrible moments. What the? Oh, that looked closer than it should have been between us and Pease. Yeah, fairs. Well, we're going to end the season in dramatic fashion. I hope everybody just goes for it here, really. Especially Tobes. I hope he hurries up and gets back to the pack. Do you know what? If he catches up at the end of this lap and it isn't in, he might as well pit. We'll watch him board in case he stacks it. Because these softs, they've had a little bit of running in them. They'll be fast, don't get me wrong. They're not going to be great. But they'll be quick enough. We'll see how it plays out. We'll see how he goes. See if he can wrangle that car around about the lap one last time. Or a few last times. He is going to catch up to the pack and not crash. And somehow, despite what's happened, him and Cluppy are still in this race. A 6 stop and a 4 stop. 2, not 1, 2 front wing changes for this man. And they're still in the race. Isn't that just wonderful, folks? What is the miracles of Christmas we've got? We'll see. We'll see how she goes. Sweet Crown then. Gonna take us through the restart. It is going to be in this lap. We are going to have 3 laps of green flag racing here in Japan. Of course, the first one, no DRS. Lap 26 and 27 are going to see us go DRS racing. Of course, no more safety cars. We are at the minimum point for when we have to have the green flags. We could have done one more lap under safety car, could have had the last 2, but the pack is rejoined, the pack is here and ready to go, so we are going to go racing. Bowter gets us going on the exit of the Katsu Triangle. Izzat in tow, as is Pease. Harrison a little bit adrift, 810's been caught napping ever so slightly, and Etsurun making the move on Diddy, using those medium tyres that, yes, they're 6 laps old, they're not going to be that quite as worn as you'd think they are, due to all the stoppages we've had. Forster making a move on Hobbsy. Next up for him is Danjo. Danjo falling a little bit adrift though, of the top 5 already. see how this race plays out. I'm actually quite interested to see the battle for P6. It could turn into the battle for P5, but also the battle for the win. Could Izzat nick the win here in Japan? Of course, it is a bit of a home race for him. He is Asian, of course. Commiserations to him for that. I mean, because his internet connection's that bad. What did you think I meant? Terrible thinking that. Has to slot in behind though on the run round turn number 12. Through Spoon they go, 13 and 14, and then down towards 130R. Rocco gets the move in the background on Diddy. But who cares about this? Who cares about that? It's all about the big ones at the front. And by big ones, I mean large ones. Two large males battling it out for the lead. Izzat not a large male in height, of course, just in width. Bowter a bit large in both, but personality is what they're both large in the most. DRS now enabled. That, of course, will come into play for pretty much just the final lap, to be fair. It's going to be that run down to turn 1 on lap 27. Speaking of large males, there is another one lurking in the background. It is, of course, Peas. He is looking to sniff some, maybe not positions, maybe not points, some shenanigans, shall we say. He's got the M3 setting the time penalties. Harrison with the 6, they're going to drop right down through the pack. 4-star not been able to do too much more with those softs as of yet, but could still make a move. Is Izzat going to make the move? If it's going to be anywhere, it's going to be the turn 1 run at the start of the next, and of course the final lap. But he has to get close enough. He has to get that run up through 130R, that exit out of the Casio triangle, and that traction as the wing opens. 4-star, speaking of traction, using those softs gets the move up into P6, and in fact, if he can close the gap by another second, could turn this into a P4 with Peas and Harrison's time penalties. We'll see if that happens. We'll find out very, very shortly. Izzat then decently close to the rear of Sweet Crown. Doesn't get the best exit as Hobbsy passes Rocco. DRS wide open, using every last bit of battery he has, but it's not going to be enough. Anything barring a mistake now, or an absolute kamikaze from Izzat, we'll see about a win. The race as Rocco, absolute 6 slide. I shouldn't laugh, but of course it's Clapper who hits him. Ah, absolute chef's kiss there, Rocco. That gets a seal of approval from me. Oh man. He's retired on track. That is shocking. That is shocking behaviour. Absolute, yeah, that's the season ban worthy from Clapper, retiring on track. Terrible. Oh dear. Anyway, final run through Spoon for the leaders. It looks to be, unless there's an almighty saying from Izzat, that it's going to be a Sweet Crown win. Up through 130R for the last time. Izzat is only 8 tenths back though. Could he send it on him? Could he have a lunge? It doesn't look like he's going to Harrison the Peas. Yeah, just get the fists out, boys. Let's get to scrapping. I love this. Bowter takes the win and the fastest lap is at P2. Bosch Evans is going to come home in P3 then. Peas in 4, 4-star in 5, Danjo 6, Jeroen 7th, Harrison 8th, Hobbs 8, 9th, Diddy 10th, Strauss finishes in the pits in P11, and the rest of the pack then finishing one after the other. What a race though. It was certainly one of the races of all time. Definitely a race of time. Whether you think it was a good one, well, we'll see. Race winner then, Sweet Crown, fastest lap, Sweet Crown, driver of the day, 4-star, most overtakes, Chaza. Interesting though, doesn't tell us a clean driver. Does that give a story? Bouter from Izzat, from Evans, from Pease, from 4-star is your top 5. Danjo, Jeroen, Harrison, Hobbsy, and Diddy round off the top 10. Strauss, Gavolas, Rocker Reggie for real, Chaza, and Tobes, your last of your finishers and points scorers. Clark PR retires on track, DSQ'd. Cole Paradox retired on track, DSQ'd. Wiban, 50 million points for just being an absolute guy. That has been Season 14. It's been your only showing of Season 14. I hope it's been enjoyable. It's been a much more enjoyable night for me sitting in here laughing and talking over it than it has been racing this absolute tragedy of a game. Go buy iRacing. It's so much better. Have a wonderful night, and I'll see you all